we've got a unique approach to our model organism. This organism was only relatively recently identified as being something different from bacteria. Back in 1996, it became absolutely crystal clear that these organisms were different from bacteria. They look like bacteria. We can treat them a lot like bacteria. They're small. We can grow them in large quantities in the lab in a flask. But they're not bacteria. In fact, they comprise a completely different branch of life called the Archaea. And the archaeal branch tends to be comprised of organisms that live in kind of funny places. They live in high quantities of salt, like the Dead Sea or the Great Salt Lake in Utah. They live under the oceans in the deep sea thermal vents. They make methane, and they also live in, some of them live in thermal hot springs. Not all Archaea are extremophiles. There are a number of Archaea that are found in mesophilic habitats. You can find them in the ocean. There are Archaea that are symbiotic with marine sponges. There are Archaea that you can find in soil samples. It turns out that Archaea are really rather ubiquitous. They're everywhere. And we just really didn't know how widespread they were until the genome sequencing advances started to indicate how many different Archaea were out there. They weren't recognized by the scientific community as anything other than bacteria until about 1996. So we've only had 11 years to make ourselves known as something different. The funny thing is that we're actually using enzymes from archaeal organisms every day, and you probably don't realize it either. So every day when you go home to wash your laundry, the proteases that are in the laundry detergent tend to be thermophilic because they work really well at high temperature. And they tend to be from Archaea. So they work well under those conditions. So you're using it in your laundry detergent, they're using it in the laboratories. Archaea have really changed a lot of things about our daily lives, and people just don't know. For the longest time, Archaea were called archaebacteria, which made it sound like they were just bacteria. And I think we're still overcoming the archaebacteria name that a lot of people still think that Archaea are just bacteria that live in funny places. I think as more genome sequences are emerging, it's becoming more and more clear how very different Archaea are from bacteria and how very similar they are to you and me.